Welcome to the show. Tonight, we're going to investigate our local school board. By what I mean by that is we're going to investigate how often do they answer complaints, what kind of complaints do they answer to, and do they answer complaints, do they just ignore it, or do they sweep it under the rug? Those are the kind of questions we're going to be answering. Excuse me. And if you ask the question, how often do what we're going to talk about, we're also going to talk about the school board responsibilities. So the responsibility of a school board plays an important watchdog role keeping your local school on track and setting policies that affect your child and your school. They set the vision and goals for the school district and holds the district accountable for results. And the Texas Association of School Boards has a 13-page thing on the legal services. And all the means are public, and now they're live streamed because of COVID. I mean, all the school boards, local policy from the school board. And there was like frequently asked questions, 6 pages of it. Everyone has a right to come to every school board meeting. Official minutes of the school board would like to be public by now. We don't even know if complaints to the school board have been answered. But what we're going to talk about here is basically all the cases of the school board for here in the Bluff, and one case from Lee Summit where taxpayers, the students are involved, the parents are involved, superintendents are involved, and all about the taxpayer, all about our tax dollars. So let's face it. Your child's free education comes from our tax dollars. There's a difference between public school and online school. And like paying schools. Like private schools, Catholic schools, online schools. Let me tell you, going off topic here, public school is free because of our tax. It's a government-run school because of our tax dollars. Online school and online school, Catholic school, private school, those cost money. Homeschool costs money too. You gotta hire a tutor, you gotta hire a teacher. That's a lot of money. And if if you tell your parents, hey, I want to drop out of school and do online school, it's not right. You shouldn't be able to do that. Best place for your child is to be public school. Because if you drop out of if your child drops out of public school, they're going to be a school dropout, and then you go into school, they're not going to. Your child's not going to graduate. They're just basically going to. Not allow them to graduate and move on to the next grade until he completes the school year. And also, the board just reviews regular reports from the administration. So, basically, they answer complaints from the administration. They don't respond to board meetings, they don't respond to immediate criticism or complaints. They just sweep it under the rug. With that in mind, let's look at the case of the haircut that happened here in Florida. With that case in mind, here is one case that they looked at that they were concerned about. This was about a year ago when a father was upset with a fellow high school student after his son's hair was cut off. But did the school say anything about it? After he cut his hair, his dad talked to his dad about it. They just said, "Oh, we're upset about it as you are. It should never happen to you." Blah blah blah. They just basically wanted him out of here because they don't want because they're just trying to avoid it. So they apologize. Sorry about that. Yada yada yada. I mean, apologies, yes. You should apologize, but people just ignore the apologies like it never happened. Now, after the report yesterday, after yesterday's story, they responded saying they're currently reviewing the processes and procedures, the ROTC program. Necessary adjustments will be made to ensure requirements of the program and policies of the campus are in alignment. From the Public Information Officer. Most of the students who received a haircut in class either requested a haircut or parent permission was given. A few parents were not notified. District campus officials have issued apologies. When you issue apologies saying it will never happen again, that's the problem I have. It won't happen again. Those 4 words. That's the issue I have with. And I'll tell you about that when we come back. When a school board issues apologies and say it will never happen again, they just simply ignore it as if it's not going to happen. But what does that phrase mean? The phrase that people say their boss would know they've messed up and their boss yells at them. This is the acceptable response apart from sorry that should be used when issuing an apology to the boss. The heinousness of the reason can be varied from shredding a court. They support the result is always the same. Saying it better not, and the results of the accused. And when you say it won't happen again, already, when you say it won't happen again, already you know it's going to happen again. Unless you say the words right now, making them clause in the sentence, meaning you're trying to draw out is not explicit. It cannot happen again right now and never will in the future. In that statement, they issued apologies, and they say it won't happen again, already you know it's going to happen again. They got to do more than investigate this. I mean, they have to talk to they got to talk to the teachers of the ROTC and ask questions like, okay, who cut the hair? And all that kind of stuff. Who cut the hair and all that kind of stuff. Action should be taken. The teacher should be suspended or paid with leave. That's the case here. We don't know which one it could be. And all district campus administrators have issued apology. I'm sorry to happen to you. When you issue apologies, already you know they're going to ignore it, and it's going to happen again. Try to avoid that. Do more. Investigate this. And people are right. Everyone should not be cutting hair unless they have a license. If they have a license, it's okay, but no phone calls, no letters, no notes, no emails, none of that. And after this case, a handful of parents were on there. The story blew up on social media. And everyone kind of comment on it. Now to a case that was just months ago when here in Florida Bluff they decided to close down the area of the varsity gym. August 2020, which was months ago, which was like several months ago, they decided to shut down the upstairs entrance to the varsity gym, like the upstairs bleachers, because of the walls and the slant and the grass area. It all happened because of a bond project and the bids. So they decided, you know what? Reject all bids and shut it down. And the day after the board meeting, they barricaded it up, and everyone was still going up there. Not realizing, hey, there's a downstairs entrance. There's a downstairs entrance, and people could have just simply walked up those bleachers up the staircase. It's like, what are we going to do about bathrooms? No one did anything about it. They just simply closed it off and swept it under the rug and not come up with a plan. That's what I think. Or more board cases we return. Now it's all about the tax dollars. Imagine this. Your tax dollars are going to the board, or going to the school, and those tax dollars are raising the teachers and all kind of stuff. But what if you found out that your tax dollars were using that to give the superintendent a huge raise? That's exactly what happened years ago when David McGehee, the former superintendent at Lee Summit, as the board decided to give him a high raise, like $500,000. A lot of parents were upset. A lot of parents were upset. They even did a protest about it, and at the end of June, he resigned, and no permanent superintendent. And during that time, no permanent superintendent was. There was no permanent superintendent except for one person. And before all of this, he was put on administrative leave because of a relationship with the school lawyer. And during that time, his raise payment was $304,300. And the Blue Valley superintendent made $230,000. The Shawnee mission superintendent, $254,000. Over a quarter of $250,000. Those taxpayers were angry about it. And still, the highest paying rate superintendent was an issue. Even worse than what happened during the bluff, during the thing where they said, "Oh, we're not going to give teachers enough raises because of our tax dollars and because we're going to spend over $250,000 remodeling the gym." And so that's the whole issue here. All right, one more case. This was I did report this during or in October. This was about the school director of security. I mean, it's their job to make sure that their building is safe. That's the duty of the whole director of security. But lately, though, that's been changed to where many parents have came on Facebook to. One parent came on Facebook to address this issue. I mean, what I can remember from that Facebook post, what she deleted, it was all about he was flirting female students, harassing students, sniffing lipstick, and blackmailing. But the blackmailing part got me suspicious. Did he blackmail the student, or did the student blackmail him? Well, after looking at that, the student blackmailed Mr. Fisher, so the student should have been accused of blackmail. Those three were left in place. I mean, flirting female students, that's unacceptable. You should not be able to do that, especially if you're married. Because flirting may lead to sexual harassment. That's what I learned. So that's what I learned. And during that time, when she complained about this to the board, they said, "We'll look into it," and then the post was deleted. And about 1 year, they still haven't looked into it because of the interim superintendent. No one asked questions, but what I've learned is that what I learned is that It is the duty of the superintendent to monitor that. That's the whole purpose. Building safety systems, building surveillance system equipment. It's the duty of the director of security. That's what I learned from the state of New York. I mean, from the state of New York, what I've learned is that it is the duty of the superintendent to monitor the director of security and safety. The previous superintendent of the 2018-2019 school year did not monitor that, and when Dr. Freeman was superintendent, I never brought up the issue to him until if he hadn't died before, he would have said, well, I'll talk to him about it. But all it simply did was just swept it under the carpet. Pretend it didn't happen. Those are the school break cases. We'll have more on this as we look at more. We'll be back in a moment with the very last of the school shooting that happened today in Idaho. Again, there is another school shooting. This time in Idaho. Stop with the school shootings. This time was from a 6th grader. The 6th grader had a gun and opened fire at some students and a custodian. Stop with the school shootings. The first school shooting ever in 2021. Stop it. We saw me about to bring a gun to school. Stop it. And that 6th grader is now in juvenile hall. Because she's a 6th grader, and if you're under the age of 18, you are a juvenile. 3 wounded, and there was 3 people that were wounded. And there's updates. And this was just today. And this school shooting happened today. First Columbine, then Sandy Hook. There's a lot of other school shootings. We don't need a lot of these shootings. We need to make sure that everyone is safe. When you go to school, you're expected to be safe. That's what everyone should be doing. Try and understand that. That's all this is. You give me a break Thursday. I'm off in the next 3 days, so I'll see if I give a break Monday with more on the school shooting in Idaho. So look for that. Always here at YouTube. Take care of yourself and each other. Good night, and don't shoot up the school.